Now, what television doesn't really do is show the pace of the game. Now, that's the same in cricket or Formula One cars going up Eau Rouge, or even the pace of the greens at the Masters. So, do you remember a tennis ball incident at the Oval a few years ago? Cameraman Hussain, can you get just...
Do I have to bat?
You have to bat. Well, you're going to show us how quick this is. So Nasser's going to put a camera on his head, and we're going to fire a tennis ball at him at about the pace that Mornay Morkel goes, and try and convey to you, as it whizzes past his nose, just how quick it is.
I mean, the key thing in the game is that in the history of the game, fast bowlers have won test matches. You go right back to the Demon Spofford in 1882, Larwood, Bodyline, Bradman, Jeff Thompson, Tyson in '54, the great West Indies bowlers, Mikey and his mates in the '80s. Fast bowlers win test matches, and that's why they are so important.
Well, whilst Nass gets ready, let's just look at the reaction times. This is what Cook has to deal with. Less than half a second to see the ball, what's it doing, where's the seam, get in a position and play the shot.
And it seems almost impossible, but you have to remember that that is what he is trained to do. He has done this for 15 years. He will have been in indoor schools like this with the bowling machine cranked up to 90 miles an hour. I have to say, I was extremely lucky because in this very indoor school when I was 17, Peter Lever, who was the then Lancashire coach, had a school of fast bowlers, and they came steaming in, bowled off about 17 yards. And I'm not sure I faced anything quicker, actually, in my career later on. So that step up, every time you step up a grade, it's the pace of the game that is more difficult. And for me, going into first-class cricket, I was incredibly lucky because I'd had a couple of years in this indoor school against some hot young fast bowlers from Lancashire, and it made my transition that much easier.
One of the best players I saw in the modern game of playing the short ball was Ricky Ponting. Nash, you got a monitor down there?
I have, yes.
Do you remember this delivery, the pace of Harmison to Ricky Ponting? One of the best players of the hook and pull shots getting cleaned up. Are you ready?
I am, without a helmet.
Without the helmet. Now, what we're going to ask you to do is just keep your head still just for a moment, and let's hope this goes past your outside edge, and we'll try and convey the pace of Mornay Morkel. Not quite as tall, being me, but slightly moving your head. One more. Now, I suppose when you're facing a fast ball like that, your head isn't as still as that. We're just trying to convey how quick it was.
Yeah, I mean, I'm obviously trying to keep still there for the camera at the moment, but at 88 miles an hour, I wouldn't keep completely still. It's like when you're returning a tennis serve, 120 mile an hour. They don't just stand there like that. They're moving, aren't they? They're getting their feet moving, getting trigger movements in. I would get a trigger movement in early to get into position. Otherwise, everything is happening at the last second. I wouldn't want to be completely still. You look at Cook, you look at all the best players, I reckon they have a trigger movement. Even Ricky Ponting there had a trigger movement onto the front foot and to pull off that front foot. So I wouldn't be that still. Bowl a few more, and I'll try and play a few now. Try being the key word.
You were, weren't you?
Those are some of your best shots.
Bit straighter.
Yep. Bit straighter.
Good leave. Hang on. So at any point, are you thinking about your movements into the shot, or is it exactly what Athers has said, training yourself in an indoor school or in the nets to just react?
Just react. I mean, the difference in here is you've got tennis balls. There's no seam movement. Look at the legs. Your legs are bigger than the legs on that bowling machine, to be honest. Mornay Morkel is a lot taller. There's a lot more bounce. And actually, the tennis ball slightly slows down here. Sean, let's have a few short ones. The other thing is here, there's no fear factor at all. Everything is set up for top of off stump. There is no fear factor. One thing I feel in here batting is, could you imagine facing Alan Donald, Shoaib Akhtar wearing this flimsy thing? The helmet must be one of the biggest adjustments for batsmen ever. I would not want to face a quick bowler with this. Let's have some short ones.
Slightly shorter. Oh, and wide.
That was...
Oh, we've had that before. I've seen you in that position before. One more. That helmet thing, though, just bring Ath in here. That helmet thing, I mean, that's the game changer, isn't it, in terms of, you know, Ponting, one of the best players I've seen, getting smacked in the face. All right, little cut, but he's OK.
You go to the Mikey Oval 76 there. This is Chris Balderston, I think, or maybe Bob Woolmer. No helmet, cap. Massive difference. David Steele. So it's changed things in a number of ways. The point Nasser makes is a very good one, the lack of fear factor. You know you're not going to get killed or whatever with a helmet on. I know there's been the odd tragic incidents, but generally not. And the other thing it's done is change the way batsmen play. So you see Ricky Ponting, he's coming forward at the bowler, he's looking to hook off the front foot. Back in the day, before helmets, batsmen were generally back and across. So if you think about the fundamentals of that, it's changed the game absolutely, because now the batsman is the aggressor, he's coming at the bowler. Pre-helmet, it's the bowler who's coming at the batsman, and the batsman is on the defence. So it's actually switched the game fundamentally.
I mean, there's nothing like, so we've got Flintoff here charging in at Jacques Kallis. There's absolutely nothing like watching this sort of battle in a test match, is there?
No, there isn't, and there's a fear factor for the batsman when you're in these scenarios, because the guys, their ability to bowl that quick, it puts you on the back foot and no one's comfortable. You learn, as Ath was saying, you learn how to deal with it through the years of practice and practice. But when you're in that situation, you are fearing for the bodily contact. You're thinking to yourself, he could do some damage. And at some stage, you actually think about, well, if I get out here, it's not the worst thing.
But their bowling attack is not dissimilar to this. They had a bowling attack. Now, Sean was quick, but they had one bowler in Donald that challenged your ticker with pace. You better have some seriously good ticker. And another that challenged your technique. Absolutely top of off. This attack, until today, has had someone in Morkel that will challenge your ticker. You can't lunge at Morkel, and they've had someone like Philander that will challenge your technique. It is a very deadly combination.
How much do you have to make it you against the other bloke at the other end?
Well, that is the contest, isn't it? It's a team game, obviously, but an individual game. Essentially, you're there with a bat in your hand on your own. The guy's got a ball in his hand. It's you against him. Who's going to win the battle? The other thing I'd say is, I mean, you train to do it, but you do pick up little things that give you a head start. There are some bowlers that you just get a sense of what they're going to bowl, whether it's the position of the wrist, the position on the crease. You pick up little cues, and that half a second that you mentioned, the 0.46 of a second, you do just get sometimes a bit of a head start.
Pub chat, fastest you've ever faced, Donald?
Donald, Shoaib Akhtar, Brett Lee were the three quickest I faced.
Brett Lee down doctor in Perth. When that wind blew in, Brett Lee down doctor.
Leon Akhtar, an actor on the subcontinent surface, nightmare, contact.
I don't know about you, David, but I reckon this fella might give you a few nightmares down the ears. Ooh, dear me, well played.